All right, we got the live here. Wait for a few people to click in so people can hear us. And got the live rolling here. All right, very cool. What's up, everybody? Jordan Miller here with Austin Kjergaard, my co-host of Run2Gun TV. This is the first Run2Gun hunting athletics lifestyle podcast.
It is.
And we're actually a little behind the eight ball when it comes to the audio side of things, the podcast style of things. You know, it's been really popular and picked up popularity over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we just figured it was time for us to kind of start doing a little bit of that and dabbling in that. But there's a reason.
There's a reason for that. I mean, I think a lot of people, when they get into, let's use the fitness industry, for example, they want to put out the information first and right away. But, you know, I think we kind of went in the opposite direction in the aspect of we wanted to, you know, we've done 5 seasons now with Run2Gun. We're coming up on season 6. We wanted to kind of put out like that we work, that we grind, that we have a reputation, that we wanted to kind of provide people with that these guys kind of know what they're doing and they've been around. We wanted to build that rapport first before we kind of went and started spewing out information, because we wanted people to buy into what we do and that we're not just some, oh, we just woke up yesterday and came up with this idea and we're just going to put stuff out. You know, we're just going to put stuff out there. We wanted to have that background.
Yeah, we've done 5 years of content. The business has been going for over 6 and 7. We actually started building business in 2011. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was one of those things. We wanted to establish ourselves, like you said, build our reputation, show actually what we do, who we are, before we just started talking about it all the time. So now we have 5 years of content.
Right.
That's out there, and we've really started to push it a little bit more, push different styles, because we've built that trust, we've built the reputation, and now we're kind of entering that phase where we're trying to get the growth factor. Right? We want our word, we want our message to get out there a little bit more. So one of those things, I'm going to adjust this camera here, Austin, so they can see you a little bit better. Gonna hide your face. What's up, guys? What do we got here? Very cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Lefty. Appreciate it, man. Cool. So if you have any questions, feel free to just chime in on either one. We'll try to get it read. We got several different stuff going here. But today, basically, what we want to talk about is kind of some defining stuff. We talked about how we've been going for 5 years of TV and 6.5 to 7 years of business with Run2Gun. How, you know, we got started. We were just going to be a training outlet for hunters, outdoorsmen, to get them in shape for hunts and outdoor adventures. And we fell into this TV show, right? And we did a mantra every single season, and different mantras. And we're going to go over those in future podcasts. But the big one for us was season 4. We did a mantra called "Live Beyond Average," and that was kind of the turning point, a change of mindset, you could say, for both of us.
It was.
And so, such a changing mindset that we actually kept that mantra for season 5, which is airing right now. We're almost through. We have a couple episodes left, 3 episodes left, I think. I think week 7 is this week.
Yes.
So 9, 10 episodes this season. It's crazy. It's just a blur. Like, you end up going. You get done editing one season, and you're talking with sponsors, and you start filming the next season.
It's crazy how fast it goes to actually say the words that we're coming up on season 6.
Yeah.
Like, just got season 5 out there, and we're already talking about what workouts, what things we've got kind of lined up for season 6. But that kind of goes back with our whole mantra of living beyond average, because I feel like people, as soon as they would get done, let's say in our case with a show, there's a break. There is legitimately no break. By the time the last season airs, we're already planning the next season, and we're not just sitting there just talking. Like, we're actually doing things, we're researching things, we're trying to come up with better ways to improve, so we're not falling in those confines of average.
Right, and our show is so much different than other shows that are out there that it takes a different level of planning because we have the fitness side of it.
Yep.
So it's just a little bit different. It's kind of a black sheep of outdoor television in a sense. So kind of cool. So that live beyond average mindset that we talked about, we started season 4, carried over to season 5, and what it's done for us and what it means. So I think that's, you know, people see the hashtag. It's out there. We've been rocking it for 2 seasons. So let's kind of we've talked a little bit about in the episodes of what it means. And so our consistent viewers probably know a little bit of what that means. Or for some of the people just tuning in for the first time or never hearing us before, Austin, what does that live beyond average actually mean to you from a day-to-day standpoint, not just single motivation that gets you through a month?
The live beyond average hits home for me quite a bit because I would say throughout most of my life,
Brian?
I tried to avoid being average. When I grew up as a kid, I was always falling in that average category of whatever it was, might have been sports or academics or whatever. And then as I got older and realized that I personally had something that I could control and change that word average, I made that an internal personal mantra. So for me, it really resonates with my beliefs and what I try to do each day. And it's I'll use the saying, it's living beyond average. I wake up every single day and I figure out what can I do to improve from yesterday. And I think what has also helped me is I had to audit myself, and I think others should audit themselves as well. And what I mean by that is audit like your relationships with people. If you feel like you're kind of stuck in a position and you feel like you're going through the motions, audit the people you're around, or the people that you're around doing the exact same thing and you're just rubbing off those bad habits. Because when I did that, I made a huge difference for me in keeping to move beyond average, because all of the people I surround myself with have an absolute disgusting work ethic. So if I have that day where I'm feeling a little like not motivated, all I got to do is talk to one of my friends, and I'm like, well, I have to keep up because they're moving forward. And if I'm sitting back here, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's the competitive nature of me, but I have to keep going.
You've been that way since I met you back in like 2011.
Yeah.
You were even, I think almost even more so in the sense of like making sure anybody that was around you had that, I hate using the word ethic, but it was like you weren't spending time with anybody that wasn't somebody that was very goal-oriented, driven, and that helped, that added value to you from you being around them and them being around you.
Right.
And that was one of the reasons we became such good friends, is we weren't always seeing each other every day. And we still don't. There's times like this where we haven't hardly seen each other in a couple months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we haven't been filming the workout side of things. We haven't had any hunts over the last couple months. Just been edit and work.
Right.
Austin manages 3 gyms.
Yep.
And also is a full-time student.
Yeah.
And is married. So I mean,
I have been known to put too much on my plate. Yeah, but I feel like, again, being around people like yourself and other friends that I've had, I feel like everybody I know, because I'll have people like, when are you going to slow down? I hope I don't slow down. I hope I can, maybe have a little better time management, yes, but I hope I don't slow down, because all of my friends around me are doing things. Jordan works full-time. Run2Gun is not a part-time thing, whether people think we have a couple months where we don't see each other. We're talking because he's traveling to Colorado, Utah, New Mexico. He's constantly traveling. And I stay in, Sioux Falls area mainly, but I travel all throughout the city every single day. Sometimes I'll go up to Brookings, Watertown area. But I mean, we're constantly talking, whether it's, texting or, live or something.
A lot of Snapchats.
Yeah, lots of ideas and lots of planning.
What's up, younger?
So, I mean, yes, we might be able to put too much on our plate, but
hey, what's up, man?
There's a reason for that, is everybody around me puts. I don't know one person that I surround myself with that isn't just focusing on like one specific thing. And that includes family. I think people forget that you might be busy and you have a full-time job, but you're also focusing on your family. You might be doing sporting events. You are constantly busy to improve your quality of life and your family's quality of life. And that just goes back to the question, answering the question is what does live beyond average mean for me? It's literally that. I'm going to stay busy so I can improve everybody else around me, and including myself.
Well, and go back to that. You mentioned, that's amazing. You mentioned the whole, you have to audit yourself and the people around you. And that is such a huge determining factor of what you're going to get done. Because when we relate everything back to the live beyond average mindset that has really dictated and been a player in our day-to-day, we've had to do that a ton. And having that self-awareness is huge. So,
it's absolutely huge.
We both work full-time jobs and have our extra. So Run2Gun is my second technical full-time job. I still work another full-time job.
Yep.
And so making sure, and I've had to do it, and it's tough decisions. It's always tough calls where I've had different friends that were friends for a little bit.
Yep.
And they're not really friends anymore. I mean, they're still friends of acquaintances per se, but I don't talk to them daily, weekly, or even monthly, hardly, compared to my close few.
Right.
But by doing that, the amount of people that I get to reach in a positive manner has exploded.
Right. You've had more time to focus on that.
Exactly. And so when you talk about that audit, it's such a game changer of actually becoming self-aware of what you need to do to get the extra thing done. Because most of us do work a full-time job, but want something more.
Right.
And so Run2Gun was my want of something more. I was working a full-time job, but I want this. So somebody else might be wanting to open a gym or open a boutique, anything it is, but they're working a full-time job and they don't think they have the time to do it.
Right.
Well, audit yourself. You have to become self-aware of what you're actually doing with that extra time. If you're working 9 to 5, well, what's your 5 a.m. to 8:30?
Right.
And what's your 5:30 to midnight?
Yeah. What is it?
You know what I mean? Because if you truly want it, I mean, even by taking a step and saying, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 7 p.m. to midnight or to 11, I'm going to work on this.
Yep.
Those hours dramatically stack up and dramatically make changes in what you're going to do. And so for me, that's what I had to do. For you, that's what you had to do. It was extra work. It doesn't mean that there's not a morning. We just talked about it, how we've had a crazy week and months leading into today. And it was kind of funny because we didn't even talk to each other before this until this morning, of the fact that we both slept in this morning. Like we slept until 7.
Yeah.
And we were both like, dude, we were dead. Like we needed to sleep in a little bit. But it was because, we needed it to that sense. We've had the days that have led into the long nights or very early mornings. So there's going to be times that I'm not saying don't sleep.
Well, it's not easy. I mean, we can sit here and we can talk about auditing. It's not an easy thing. Like I'm thinking, like if you have families, you have kids, people are like, well, I can't do this because we have the sporting events and we've got this and we've got practice, or we've got a young kid and our kid is up and they're crying, and it's totally understandable. But if you're up and the kid is crying and they go back down, we know that people need sleep, but there's probably some time in there where if you're up, and maybe you can focus on that, whatever that is that you're trying to search for, or like you said, maybe having a couple days out of the week where maybe your lunch hour you're eating, but you're also trying to research things that you can improve. Like there's always a way, and it's not going to be easy. You just have to find the way that's going to work for you and your schedule. But it can be done, because you're absolutely right. Like,
well, it goes right back to the self-audit.
Yeah.
I mean, when you said, like, okay, I have 2 kids, and so I understand the tiredness of it. My wife definitely understands the tiredness of it. But there is time to set aside and schedule it for what you need to get done.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like for me, I make sure I get in all my hours at work, but I also was starting to have less time to work out. So I realized that I need to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I eat, I get some reading done. I focus on the things that I want to be better at.
So Nathan.
And then, after the workout, head to class for like an hour and a half, come back and work until, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
And then it's starting back up the next day. And it was hard at first, but I figured that's, if I want something, because I love my job and I love what I do, but there's other things that I also want to accomplish to help other people. And if I want to do those things, I have to make a few sacrifices personally. And if so, that's getting up a little bit earlier. So be it.
Exactly what Austin does with Run2Gun, the sacrifice of time for him to help do what he does in the filming and the production side of things. But it's because one of his wants in life is to have a bigger playing factor when it comes to making positive impacts on people's lives.
And that's what our goal is. Like we everybody in the Run2Gun family, our whole goal is to leave an impact in a positive way on everybody's lives, whether you're a fitness enthusiast, a hunting enthusiast,
right,
or you want to be both.
Right. And you absolutely nailed it, because we give a lot of stuff away. When I say stuff, I'm meaning Austin doesn't, we don't charge for every workout plan we give. We don't charge for every nutrition plan we help with. And, our membership program's a prime factor of that. If somebody was a message right now on here that want to be a part of the member, I would send them a link and access code for free. It's just part of what we do. We leave a lot of money on the table when it comes to that because of the relationships we want to build, because we know long term it'll come back to us. Yeah. Somehow, some way, long term it's going to come back to us. That's just a believer. That's just the business type we've taken. We didn't know that at the beginning. That was learned. Yep. We just knew by taking certain steps and aspects like that, that we would reach more people. Right. You know, that we could help more people. What's that comment say there? A little small for me from this far away.
So we have, kids' work is hard to manage sometimes. So like you said, you need to make time for you and your goals. So yeah, that's a fantastic comment. And I don't have kids yet myself, but Jordan's got 2 kids, and as far as like making time for yourself, I can definitely relate to being busy and trying to make some time for yourself, because if you don't,
you're not as good for your kids.
No,
you're not as good for your spouse.
You're not going to be good for anybody, because eventually it's just going to wear on you, and you're going to get mad, and you're going to take it out on the wrong person. And so it comes back to again, auditing yourself. And we can sit here and talk about getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's just what we have found works for us. That may not work for you, but you have to find what
time.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people ask, like, hey, what, dads or moms, whatever it is, like, how do you get your workout in during the day? And people suggest, like, okay, yeah, I get up a little bit early, like, oh, well, I'm not a morning person.
Right, yeah.
Well, guess what? If you're going to get up at 6 and you
want.
Can't do it in the evening, you're going to have to get up at 5.
Yeah.
And I know it's a little tough, but start by doing it twice a week.
Right.
Start by doing it 3 times a week. Build the healthy habit, and do that, because what is that going to do? You become healthier. Yep. Your mind becomes healthier, which is an overlooked aspect. And when you have more positive influence in your own head of what you can do, and when you understand that you actually have full control of your life, that you can decide when you want to get up in the morning, right? That laying in bed and just, I know I should go do this. When you figure out that you have control, that you step out of bed, that you go hit a small workout, that you go read that book, that you go write that book, that you go work on your business plan, that you go network with 3 people that week for lunch, whatever it is, when you figure that out, that you have control to make that happen, everything changes.
It does, and you learn. I feel like if you're somebody, I'll use myself for example, when you get up early, I feel like you develop different things. You can become a little bit better with time management. You become a little bit more organized, because for me, when I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I have my routine. I have what I need to do, and I need to have a time frame. I need to be at the gym this long, and I have to be back at this time because I have this much stuff to get done. So, I mean, you kind of learn that, so you can create healthier habits, and depending on the schedule, but you can probably have a little bit more energy, especially if you're getting out of workout in the morning, or for people that they literally like, there's just no way I could do it in the morning. Maybe it's your 30-minute lunch hour. You go get a 30-minute workout. You can break that day up and still have some more energy. It's like, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing? Like, if you're somebody, and I have no problem with this, if you're someone that's in the softball league, or you're playing the PlayStation, the Xbox, by all means, you need whatever it is for your time to distress. So if that's you, more power to you. But if you're also upset that you are not where you're at and you are doing those things, again, we just said, and we've been saying this whole time, like, auditing yourself isn't easy. So your PlayStation or softball league, if that's your distress, you may have to cut that down a little bit and focus on something that you truly want. It's not going to be easy. You just have to be honestly realistic with yourself. Like, if you love softball, PlayStation, Xbox, and that's your distress, then by all means do it. But don't do that and then complain you don't have time.
The hardest thing, living a life beyond average isn't the hard part. It's being self-aware enough to be able to actually do it.
Yeah, you have to be hard on yourself. Like, you have to see things that you may not want to see.
Nobody is harder on me than me.
Absolutely.
Nobody is harder on you than yourself. And I tear myself down all the time about how whether it be on parenting, how it's trying to run a business, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, for me, when I started getting better at it, I don't think it really happened until season 5 for me. I always struggled with from season 1 to 4. I told myself I didn't, in the sense of not caring what other people thought or what I did, how I posted a social media post, what I posted. And it wasn't until season 5 that I started realizing that was completely holding me back. But it was because I was finally becoming more mature in my mentality and becoming more self-aware of myself that, okay, dude, you actually subconsciously do care. I did care what people thought, how I posted, what I posted about, how often I posted.
Right.
And I realized, dude, it's chaining me to the wall.
It is.
And so for me, it was that self-audit post where, hey, if you want to continue to grow, if you want to continue to help other people, if you want to continue building this brand, you got to stop caring.
Yeah.
And so whether you're trying to build something, whether you're trying to be a better parent, whether you're trying to be a better husband, self-awareness will help you get to that living a life beyond average.
Yeah.
And living a life beyond average for some people might just be being a better husband or wife. It might just be, running one business. It might be running two, it might be running three. It might be just working the job that you're at and becoming great at the level that you're at. Because everybody's happiness and goals are different that way. It's not from a business aspect, living a life beyond average, running your own business.
Right.
That's the biggest thing that we, one of the things we want people to understand. It relates to us in the sense of business because we're both business owners outside of where we work.
Right.
But that's my mentality. I want that. I want to, I was lucky that both my dad and my grandfather entrepreneurs. So that's part of me. I want to run a business. So
you grew up around that. It kind of goes back to earlier. You grew up around people that had extremely insane work ethic, and you mentioned something a second ago too, like how we're just our own worst kind of enemy in a sense of like we tear ourselves down. And another way you can become or live a life beyond average is working on time management. Like Jordan was saying, season 5 was an eye-opener for him. Going from season 4 to season 5 was an eye-opener for me because I had an insane amount of stuff on my plate. Like I had just gotten married, school, gym, outside business, personal goals, Run2Gun, planning tons of different things. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, I personally don't like to admit that I have too much on my plate because I enjoy being busy.
You were run down, dude.
I enjoy reaching out to other people because if I'm busy, it makes me feel like I'm being effective to a lot of people. I'm reaching out and trying to help a lot of people, so it's hard for me to accept that fact. So going from season 4 to season 5, I had to audit myself again and say, okay, you can still be busy, but you can figure out a way. Like you're gonna have to say no to some things, which is hard for me, but you're gonna have to figure out a way to be better at time management.
It's so hard.
It is, and you can still so if you're somebody that is busy, because there's probably some people that are around here that are like, yeah, we've heard this before, we know what it's like. Well, you still can live beyond average and trying to figure out again, better time management skills. You probably are really busy, and that's fantastic, but maybe you're neglecting a few things that you should be focusing on it and shifting it to that as well.
Shifting the energy. And Matthew made an awesome comment about Matthew, my brother, logged in. He's like, dude, I always have way more energy after a good workout. Well, again, it's just that, he's found that he's more productive and that his energy increases after, in this case, expending a lot of energy.
Right.
And so a lot of people, you can be afraid of like, I have to add 2 hours of work to my plate every single evening. But if it's something that you're passionate about, it actually gives you way more energy, gives you an edge to accomplish those things that you've been working for. And so, for me, it's just, that self-audit. Okay, I need to sacrifice this time, and at some point, that time I'm not going to have to sacrifice anymore.
And if you
I'm going to be able to take
see
away
results, you're probably going to feel a little bit more capable of adhering to that extra time.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, I did something on my Instagram where I talked about
Sorry, dude.
appreciating the small victories. So you may, like Jordan said, you may have to sacrifice time, maybe a couple extra hours of work. But if you're seeing some subtle changes, like you need to take that as one. You could have a terrible day, an awful day, just everything went wrong, but you've got that 2 hours at the end of the day to yourself, and you're like, I just really don't want to work on this, but you start doing it. You may be surprised in where that work goes with those extra hours. And again, you're kind of like, okay, this whole day was just awful, but I still got this accomplished. Like, remind yourself that, like, enjoy those small wins. I think people just focus on how terrible a day was. They forgot where the small win came from.
Small wins, dude. And that goes back to, I think it was, and we won't get into it too much, but our season 2 mantra was enjoy the process, love the journey.
Yep.
That's totally what that ties into. We'll get into that in another podcast later on, but that is the biggest part of what you do. Are you in it for just the end goal? That's actually, like, we have goals with Run2Gun where we want to be, but dude, it's like almost scary thinking like when we get there, because I don't have any doubt that we're going to get there, because it's this whole process leading up to it. That is the enjoyment
and
part.
then what's after? Because that's like the mind-blowing question. Like, okay, so if I get there, then what?
Then what? Exactly. So has it been a grind for the last 6 years? Of course it has. I spent money that I probably shouldn't have done trying to grow this thing? Of course. Have I made money that I needed to make? Yes. More importantly, created so many relationships, impacted so many people, gotten so many emails, DMs from people across the country that we've impacted positively. And then what do? They go and impact one person, two people very positively. So it's that rolling snowball effect of that living beyond average that is getting out there.
Especially from going from, like, because we started off as a local hunting thing, and now we've expanded out into different areas of the country.
Right.
So we could have been satisfied of just doing things locally in the South Dakota area, but we weren't satisfied with that.
So. Exactly. Now we have, following across the country. It's kind of cool because I've gone to a couple gyms over in like Fort Collins region here this year, and just worked out, and two people I was working out there, they recognized it, and we sat there and chatted and became friends. And it was all because of social media. Social media is not a bad thing. It's totally a positive thing when used correctly. The technology is amazing of what word we can get out there.
Right.
And so looking into the future, what we got here, we got another thing is shoot for the moon, have great accomplishments, but down on ourselves for not reaching the end goal. Yeah, TT Air App. It's a good thing, man. Like, totally nailed it in the sense of, have the big goals, have the up here where you're trying to be, but so many people quit too early because they get down. He said, don't get so down on yourselves. It's impatience.
It is.
That's what that is.
Patience and consistency, I think, people don't pay attention to enough.
I wish people knew how many times I just wanted to hang up, run the gun, and quit. We could have done it in the middle of filming season 1. Because that was the learning curve, the trying to figure it out. We had no idea. We didn't even own a camera when we got the show.
Yep.
When we pitched the show to a network and then he got it on, we didn't own a camera, didn't know how to edit. Figured it out.
Yeah, could have just gave up, said this is a lot more work than what we thought it was going to be, especially working. You were working full time. I think you were just out of college at that time too. So there's a lot of eye-opening experiences.
Yeah. And it's not, the show then wasn't what my vision was yet. And we're always taking that vision and trying to get there. And, I'm lucky that I've put the right people around me. I've had, you've been huge. My brother Matthew coming on and doing all the filming and production of that complete 180.
Oh, yeah.
What the energy he brings to the table. And obviously Matt up in northern South Dakota, what he's done. I mean, just having those people totally in you, and around you and fulfilling you. And, whenever you're feeling down, they're there with encouraging word. We have Justin down in New Mexico.
Yeah.
That he's 1,000 miles away, but what a great asset. What a great guy.
Yeah.
And even the relationships we built with some of our sponsors, Brock Hutchison down at Big Frig. I mean, dude, what a stand-up guy. Travis Stevens at TS Customs. Phenomenal dude. We've had, a huge name in South Dakota. Tom Walsh owns the whole Great Life.
Yeah.
I mean, great guy. What a great guy to sit down with and just talk to.
Yep.
But that's part of that living beyond average is surrounding yourself with those people. And it's kind of uncomfortable at first because a lot of these people have accomplished so much.
Right.
So you can easily look down on yourself and think that your worth, your value isn't there. But it is. And no matter what your starting point, no matter where you're at in your journey of living beyond average, you always have the self-worth.
Yep.
And you always have what it takes. But you have to dig deep, have the self-fortitude to not give up early, and to keep going towards that goal. I mean, so many people don't know that if we would have stopped early, oh my gosh, what did we just miss out on? Think about where, and if we were to stop now after season 5.
Here's an interesting question. Do you think,
what are we missing out on?
When Living Beyond Average came out as the mantra, do you think that changed your vision of Run2Gun and the direction?
It actually changed just how I even, how I parent.
Yeah.
How I try to be a better husband, because half the time I feel like I'm a pretty cruddy one. For how much time I spend working, And so it actually really changed just my mindset on how I do simple things. How I even reach out to people on Instagram. How when somebody follows me, I try to send them a message. It's just, hey, thanks for following.
Right.
And that's been harder to do since we've had better growth over the last year. But I still try to do some of that.
Yeah.
Answering emails, remembering to give. I think over the last month I've given away more fitness programs and free access to a website,
right,
and things like that than than I ever had. And that's a lot of money left on the table in the sense of dollars and cents in my account, but I can't even add that up, you know, in the sense of the value in relationships that I can build. That means means so much more to me, and long term I know it's the right route. And I believe it 100% that that's what we should be doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that kind of wraps up a little bit of what we're talking about with living beyond average, what it means to me, what it means to Austin, how it's affected our personal lives, just doing the day-to-day things, being a better parent, being a better husband, being a better employee, mm-hmm. being a better business owner. You know, whatever your reason is, just don't give up early. Don't give up early. Take in the little wins, like Austin said. Self-audit, build self-awareness
frequently,
very frequently, daily, of those little things you need to do, and things will start climbing. Just don't give up early on it. You got to keep going. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to jump over to Instagram and answer all the questions here that you guys put up and comment, and everybody viewing here on Facebook. Thanks a ton. We had a lot of good views there. So thanks a lot for joining the first podcast. You'll be seeing more as we go. And remember, live beyond average.